Good afternoon, Vallejo. You are watching VCAT, your hometown television station. This is Community Forum, and I am your host, Maria Bitagon. You can see our show on Channel 27 at Comcast or Channel 99 at AT&T Uverse. It's normally on Thursdays and Sundays at 6:30. I want to welcome my guest today. I have known her for 10 years, and I am so excited to interview her today because this particular subject that we're going to talk about is something that's very close to my heart. Yes. I have been working, towards it in my lifetime, I think. As a matter of fact, there was a time in my life when I said, can there be a woman president, and soon? So on that note, I'd like to introduce to you my guest today. Is a very nice and good friend, Sharon McGriff Payne, who is a great author. Yes. That's how I know her, and that's how I will always relate to her, because she writes very good. So Sharon, would you like to have a self-introduction?
First, Maria, thank you so much for inviting me here to speak on your program. I always enjoy talking to you. Again, you gave my name, Sharon McGriff Payne, and I am a historian and a writer. I've worked as a news reporter for many years. I authored a couple of books on African American history. But my true, really passion right now is working with Vallejo's homeless population. We are seeing a growing homeless population, and that's where my heart is right now.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes. Because I want to bring that out. Yes. To the people of Vallejo and whoever has access to this broadcast station, because it's a very important, it's a massive and very critical problem. Yes. Right now, whether you're talking about San Francisco, Oakland, or Vallejo. Yes. So I'm so glad that you are working in that. So, but the principal reason why I invited you here is because I want to make a great effort so that people will recognize women when they are doing something right and yes. something that is very helpful and useful for the community. I think that sometimes they are sort of not recognized as much as when somebody else did it. Okay. So I just want this to thoroughly magnify this. Okay. So you said that you're working with the homeless. Yes. And that's my passion as well. But I'm more interested in discussing this. Yes. This is honoring Sharon McGriff Payne as Woman of the Year. I want everybody to take a look at this and take and listen, because being the Woman of the Year, I think, is very important. That's in my vocabulary. That is very important to me. So what were the reasons for being selected Woman of the Year?
Well, first of all, I am extremely humbled by this recognition. I was recognized for writing the history of African Americans in this region. I've written about African Americans from 1845 to 1925. That was my first book, as well as a second book that recognized African Americans in Vallejo. So my passion for the last 15 years has been to uncover history that's been buried about African Americans. So I was told that because of that I had single-handedly done some things here in terms of our history that had not been done before, and that's why I was recognized. If I could just briefly tell you what happened was around early March, I was one of the panelists selected to speak at KQED was here, and they interviewed a few people, and I was able to talk about history at their panel down at the Empress Theater. About 3 days later is when someone from Congressman Mike Thompson's office called and said, "You've been selected as Woman of the Year." I heard, though, that I thought the woman said that you were nominated. And I thought, oh, that's wonderful. To be nominated was wonderful. But as the conversation went on, I realized she was saying I was Woman of the Year. So that was an exciting week for me. I still look back on it and just think how wonderful that week was. But what's even more powerful for me is that this not only recognized my history, our history, Vallejo history, African American history, but it also recognized the fact that I do work with the homeless. So I just felt like I had been double honored to get this award. Mel Orpelia, I think, played a role in this, and Mel was the one who I think had a great deal to do with me being honored as well.
That is so great.
Yes, yes.
So why do you think that the award is important? I know it's very important to me. I got excited just thinking about it, but when I see it in black and white,
yes,
it is, it really makes me even, I don't know, very, very happy, yes, and very, very excited.
Yes.
So
there are a lot of wonderful women here who are doing things, and again, women have always been at the forefront of things going on, happening in our communities, but they, in the past, have never been really fully recognized. I think I am the fourth person to be recognized by Congressman Thompson's office. And I think he realized that, women need recognition for the things that are going on in the community. Women help to keep the community going in so many ways. So I think it's also an important message to other women here in the community that, you can be recognized, that what you do is important. Some women may never get the recognition, but they do, and they really do things for our community. But I think this is sort of tangible evidence for me, at least, that I'm on the right road. I'm doing something that may possibly be right.
That is so great.
Yes.
So this, all the things that you're doing is public service.
Yes.
So why do you think public service is important?
In this day and age of everything costing money, we are constantly told, well, we can't do this service, we can't do that service because it might cost money. I see my volunteering in the community as being, it's something that I love to do. It's needed. Again, my passion, of course, is working with our homeless population. There are things that I think I can do that I don't need anyone to pay me to do. I like to think of myself as working for my fellow human being. So I think it's just important that we all can help, and it doesn't cost money. And we may, in fact, impact someone else's life. So that's what I'd like to think. That's what a good public servant can do.
So since homelessness has gone to epidemic proportion,
yes, yes,
you can talk about San Francisco,
yes,
Berkeley, Oakland, and Vallejo.
Yes.
And you were talking about the same thing.
Yes.
And it's getting more and more, it's getting to be that more and more homeless people are seen all over the place.
Yes.
So what are your concerns regarding homelessness in Vallejo, in our hometown?
I have so many concerns.
Okay.
I am seeing, again, I grew up here. And I'm sure there were always homeless people, but they were few and far between. I mean, people could afford, if your rent was $300 a month, everybody in the household could contribute. Our rents have gone up so drastically over the last few years.
Yes.
And salaries have stayed stagnant.
Yes.
I am watching people who are the working poor, who are the working homeless, who may make enough money to pay their monthly rent. They can't come up with that last month's rent. My biggest concern is I'm not seeing our city, start addressing this as an issue. I'm not saying they're completely avoiding it, but I don't see the urgency, because I do believe this is an urgent problem. Homelessness has reached, I think, a crisis here in our city. And when you start seeing families in cars, older people who are living in cars, and are being basically pushed along. I mean, it's illegal to live in a car. But where else are they going to go? So that's my biggest concern, is that I'm not seeing enough urgency from our city officials and even churches to actually start pitching in to address this as an issue.
I have just gotten word that you are, not gotten word really, I know that for the longest time, but there's this word that comes to mind, and I thought, it's used in the wrong context. A navigator.
Yes.
Could you please talk about, in working with the homeless community, what a navigator does?
I work weekly at the Vallejo Together Support Services Center down on Sonoma Boulevard. We're right next door to First Baptist Church. In fact, the building belongs to First Baptist Church. As a navigator, I am the person when our homeless come in, and again, we serve the homeless. They often need to take a shower, they need to wash their clothes, they may need help with job searches or places to live. What we try to do as navigators is navigate people towards services here in the community. And that's where we get the name. We like to think of ourselves as their friends, as a friend to the homeless here. So that's our official title, though. We're navigators.
I was just saying, navigator, it seems like it belongs to Muir Island Naval Shipyard to navigate something,
Yes.
So,
and we do almost the same thing. We show people where to go. Unfortunately, if I could add this, we don't have enough connective services here in Vallejo.
Yes.
We would love to navigate people to a lot of different services. We simply don't have those services here.
So you have been working with a lot of homeless people.
Yes.
What do you think are some of the causes of homelessness?
There are so many causes, but some of the major causes are, well, for one thing, again, we're seeing people pushed out of rental places because of lack of rent. Rents are too high. Some of the realtors they see they can make more money, they're kind of pushing some of the people out on the streets. Alcoholism, drug addiction, mental illness. We see a lot of mentally ill people here on our streets who really do need mental health care. And so there are a variety of reasons people maybe had gotten ill, lost their places. We are also seeing a number of people who are being discharged from jails and prisons who are basically where else are they going to go?
That's right.
We see a lot of them on the street. So it's a variety of different reasons. People who have been thrown out of their households. We see a number of young people who may have had arguments with their parents or their family members, and who they may be causing problems. They get pushed out into the street.
So I was just saying, so because you are so involved with the homeless,
yes.
What are your major concerns when it comes to homelessness? Major concerns.
In fact, I was talking to someone this morning about a person that's here in our city who is living in his car, an older person who has, it sounds like gangrene of the foot, you know, that his foot is literally, being destroyed. He could have diabetes. My friend called him one of the shut-ins who live in cars. That's my biggest concern, of course. I'm seeing people who are sick in living in either outside or in cars. I'm seeing families. Another major concern are children who are being raised in cars. And that to me is just absolutely, just unacceptable. And I'm looking at older women. We're starting to see a growing population of older homeless people. People are over 50 who are now calling the streets their home.
That is so. That's it. But, do you think that the city or the county or the United States of America as a whole,
yes,
do you think that they are providing the necessary? This is an emergency, okay?
Yes.
So do you think that they're treating it like an emergency?
No.
And how can we help?
No.
And could you please address the people of Vallejo or anybody who has access to this television station? Could you please address them how we could possibly help in our own little way, because most of the people also have no money, but how can we help with, especially at the place where they take a bath and things like that?
Yes.
What are the things that we can provide, and where are we going to deliver it?
It's almost, where do I start?
Yes.
Because I want to hear our city acknowledge that we have a big homeless problem. I have yet to hear them acknowledge it. I think they will talk about it when people will bring them information, but we want to see them put things on the agenda about our homeless population.
Okay.
I would love to hear our city start saying, we really do want to help. That this is the way to strengthen our community, because it's hard for me to think that any business community or businesses, we might want to bring businesses here. If they come here and see our homeless population, some of the ones who are more socially conscious might ask the city, well, what are you doing? So I really would love to see our city first acknowledge that we have a big problem, honestly do it, and do it not so much because it's an election year. To do it every year, and that's my biggest concern right now. Start with acknowledging it, and also what I would love to see, as well as Maria Guevara over at Vallejo Together, we would love to move into a property over on Sacramento Street, open a larger navigation center over there. It would be absolutely perfect. We would be next door to the Christian Help Center.
Reverend Rayburn.
And we need a bigger place. We need a place where we can have a larger laundry, more showers for people to clean themselves up with. So if we could start with that, if we could get a safe park, because so many people are living in their cars, our population who live in their cars are being asked to move along. They're not supposed to park in a certain place. So, and again, I keep asking the question, move along where? Where can they go? If we had a safe park, a number of cities are establishing safe parks where you can park in a certain area.
Yes,
it could be a fenced-in area where people can park safely. They can feel safe at night, because a number of people who live in cars sometimes report to us that they're frightened. People come up to their cars at night.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'd like to do, is just to see our city and county acknowledge our problem and really deal with this effectively and not deal with it in some way that's only when people bring it up to them.
Okay, so why do you think people did not put it in the participatory budgeting? You know, why if people are really concerned? I'm looking at participatory budgeting and how we can, because we have input in that, and they tell us the timelines in which it is acceptable. And also, what about regulating the amount of rentals, or do we have affordable housing for the homeless?
No.
Okay.
I'm sure there are, of course, Section 8 vouchers that people can use, and there are some rental properties here that are geared towards low income. But with our Section 8, fewer and fewer people are actually accepting Section 8 vouchers right now because they can get more money from renters. Renters are coming here to Vallejo who are willing to pay our rents because our rents are still lower than the Bay Area.
Yes.
So, so fewer people are really accepting Section 8 vouchers. So that's a big issue as far as I'm concerned, is where can people live? I'm not hearing our city really talk about the affordable housing issue. They're talking about some affordable housing, but they're not talking about it as a large, that we need far more affordable units than we have right now. So, and also to address the issue of people raising their rents. I'm hearing horror stories of people being pushed out of their apartments as their rents are raised every month. And $500 over a few months, who can afford that? An extra $500. It's making it almost impossible for working class people to live in some of these apartments.
So do you think that we can have a plea to our government officials so that they can, because this is an emergency.
It's an emergency.
Okay, so do you think that they should put it on the agenda and discuss about the budget to actually address the subject of homelessness and how we can help? How they can help, how the city can help.
I would absolutely love it. They did address the issue at a city council meeting this past Tuesday.
Okay.
But they were talking about a situation of housing apartments in 2021 and building 50 apartments. 50 apartments sounds wonderful. But we have alone 300 children who are homeless right now. Some people estimate we have 500 people homeless in Vallejo. I think it's double that, if not triple that. So 50 apartments for homeless people, that's a good start. But we need more, and we certainly need more before 2021. We also need other services. We need more navigation centers. We only have one, but we serve the area downtown. There are homeless encampments throughout Vallejo, from the north side to the south side. People are living outside in every section of the community. It would be wonderful to get a navigation center in every part of Vallejo.
That's great. I want to thank you for coming today to awaken the people of Vallejo, and also our public officials, if they're listening, and they should be, and I know they are. They have great hearts. So I think that I want to thank you for
Maria,
for bringing this particular problem into view, so that we can actually take care of, or at least participate in the solution of that particular problem. And thank you very much.
I appreciate it, Maria. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.